Okay guys, so it's got to that point where I need to get to the woods. Dad's been able to take a few days off work, so I've just finished packing. I thought before we get out to the woods I'd explain what the trip's about and what we're doing. So we both just felt like we needed a bit of an escape to the woods. So what we've done is we've chucked as much kit as we could possibly fit in a few rucksacks into our thing, booked a pitch at Badgells campsite in Kent, and we're just going to go there. We're going to drive to various locations and do day hikes, and then come back and cook lovely food over the campfire, that sort of thing. The weather's not looking great, but it shouldn't stop us having a good time. I thought I'd shoot a video while I'm there and just take you guys with me. So this absolutely is not a wilderness environment, a bushcraft trip, because it's not the bush, it's not the wilderness. It's a campsite in Kent, and we're driving out to National Trust properties and doing like 10-mile walks, that sort of thing. And as a result, we can take whatever we want. So we've got steak, we've got waffles, we've got chicken, we've got beer, we've got everything you could possibly want to have a laugh, as well as practice some skills. So I've got flint and steel kits, I've got carving kits, I've got loads of stuff just to play with and have a good time, because really that's what this is about. I've done loads of trips that are more testing. That's not what this one's about. This is about some headspace, getting out there and enjoying being outside. So this is purely and simply a camping video. So I'll go quickly over the kit we're bringing, and then we get on with the main video. Okay guys, bringing up the fleet of rucksacks to begin with, we have Caramore SF Sabre 45. This is my dad's pack now. I've given it to him, and he loves it. It fits him well, and he's able to carry sort of his luxury items. For example, he always uses an Arctic sleeping bag. It doesn't matter if it's sunny in the summer, he will always use an Arctic sleeping bag regardless of the weather, which is hilarious, but it's heavy, so he needs quite a big pack. And this one has the expansion, you can chuck stuff on the outside, and it's good. We've got a Dutch oven in there, we've got a wildlife hatchet, he's got a penknife, sleeping bag, roll mat, clothing, lots of clothing, and loads of food. We've got steak, chicken, waffles. We're going to cook a curry tonight and have steak tomorrow. So I've frozen the steak and chucked it in the bag, and it'll be absolutely fine for tomorrow. So he's absolutely loaded up to the nines. It's going to be quite heavy. Luckily the campsite's fairly close to where we park, so that's not an issue. We've just chucked everything he could possibly want in his pack. And it's a really nice bag. So guys, next to it we have my pack. This is the Frost River IRL Junior, and it's a great pack. It's bomb proof. I actually got this one second hand, and it's in great condition, and I really like it. So inside I've got everything you could possibly want for camping, plus carving, kit. I've got a flint and steel kit, and then I've got my nice sleeping bag. I think it's a -1 bag, because it's still, the temperature is still fairly low at the moment. And the weather could turn. We're not sure really what it's going to do, but there's a possibility of rain. So I've got my tarp, Dad's going to be in a tent, I've got my small forest axe and my knife and some of my carvings, for example my kuksa. I've got cooking spoon in there, I've got a coffee scoop that I've made. So I've got loads of nice stuff just to play with and have a good time outside. So that's my IRA out. Next to it I have my Duluth Pack Scout. This is another item of kit that I bought second hand, and I really like this. It's just perfect for taking on a day hike, and I don't really want to be lugging this pack around all day if I don't have to. And to be honest, we're going to be quite near civilization. We're going to be going through National Trust land, that sort of thing, and we're probably going to be running into sort of weekend walkers and things like that, and wearing a massive sort of canvas pack like that in National Trust property looks slightly out of place. So wearing a small one like this is a lot more socially acceptable, and you don't get crowds of people taking photos of you, which actually has happened to me wearing this through Gatwick Airport. I had people taking pictures of me wearing my canvas pack, which was quite hilarious, but I'm going to avoid that on this trip if I can. So in here I have everything I would actually need to spend a night with a wool blanket or with a long fire. I have a tarp, a micro tarp, I have a poncho, I have fire kit, I have cordage, I have a cutting tool, so it's pretty much everything I need. I've got a container as well, I've got a Nalgene with a nesting cup, so literally everything I'd need to sustain myself in a bushcraft setting is in this pack, plus lunch and that sort of thing. So it's perfect just for taking out for the day. And I really like it. It's comfortable to wear, and it's quite a recent addition to my kit, but something you'll definitely be seeing more of in the future. But I just thought I'd bring a day hike pack and an actual camping pack. It just saves me faffing around and carrying a big pack when I don't need to. And last but not least is the beer pack. So we're just going to carry this in because, as I said, we're at a campsite. Why not? So we've got a load of nice beers and things. So we're really going to enjoy ourselves on this trip. Got some lovely little craft beers. I know Joe Robinette would probably quite like to try some of these. Joe, if you do ever find this video, try Pride and Joy and try Mr. President. 9.2% double IPA. That is a great beer. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. I'm going to catch up with you again once I'm in the woods.
Yep.
Okay guys, so we've arrived at the campsite. We've wheelbarrowed in a whole load of logs and we found our pitch, which is really nice. It's secluded, it's out of the way. We left the car over there, a few minutes walk away, and we're just going to set up. So I'm going to have a tarp here and we're going to build a fire pit there. And Dad's going to put his tent the other end of our little pitch. So we're going to get set up now, and then we're going to split some wood down, get a fire lit and do some cooking. So I'd have it on the flat bed, maybe, there. Okay guys, after doing my micro tarp adventure last week or so, I felt like bringing out my normal tarp. This is my sort of most commonly used one. Gives me a bit more space. I've set it up in a way the water should run off it, and I'll have a load of space in here, and both me and Dad can sit and watch the fire if the rain was to start. We'd have a bit of living space. So going to put a ground sheet down, going to get my sleeping kit out so my sleeping bag airs up and lofts nicely before bed, and then we'll see what we do next. Dad set up his trusty old solo tent here. He's going to get a sleeping kit in. He's grown to like this tent. It's only a cheap one, but I bought this for my first ever backpacking trip about 5 years ago.
Taken over.
It's still going, and Dad's now got it. But it's going to be quite comfortable, I think. So as always, a thermarest provides a really comfortable night's sleep, and at this point I feel I've done my time with using a half-wool blanket as my ground sheet. I think it's time I had some comfort for a change, so really enjoying having this actually. It's really comfortable. Surprising. call it what you will, but I quite like to be nice and organised at camp. So I've just stacked my firewood. This will diminish quite a lot before I go to bed, but it will actually act as a bit of a windbreak at the moment. It's actually really quite sturdy, which is good. So now I need to get my sleeping bag out and finalise my sleeping area. So I always bring for my down sleeping bags a silk liner. It just prevents your sleeping bag getting dirty from the inside, and it actually adds warmth to your bag as well. So there's just no downfall really to carrying it. It weighs nothing, it takes up very little room, and it adds warmth and protects your expensive sleeping gear. So for me, a silk liner is a must if I'm using a down sleeping bag that is worth some money. Alright guys, so this is home. It's very comfortable, nicely organised. So now what I'm going to do is split some firewood and get the fire lit, and then think about cooking some camp curry. As I said, we've got like a Sainsbury's bag with beer in, and I've brought chicken, I've brought spices, mushrooms, so we'll be able to have a really nice camp curry with naan bread. So should be a really fun little camping trip. I'm going to get some wood split down in front of my tarp here, and then we'll get the fire going. Okay, so the axe is my favourite tool. It's also the most dangerous, so I'm going to be kneeling down, regardless of the fact that I'm going to get slightly muddy knees, better than the alternative. So I'm going to be kneeling down, that way the axe has more likelihood, if I was to slip off, of hitting the ground before it hit me. There's no way that's going to happen because I'm going to be super careful with this. I've placed the log on the far part of the log. Again, if I skip out of the log, it's going to hit the stump rather than coming towards me, which nobody wants. So what I'm going to do is measure out, and then I'm just going to come with a nice straight down the middle of the grain and split the piece of wood. Just like that. So the other way of splitting wood is to take the axe, place it on the edge, and then bump the two pieces down together, and then twist, like that. So again, I'm going to place the axe on the wood, bump them down, and that seats the axe, you can see that? And then just lift it up and drop them down again. So I always suggest people that aren't used to axes to kneel down. In my videos you won't see me kneel down the whole time. Now I use an axe on a daily basis, and I've become very comfortable with the 20-inch axe in particular. But if you're just starting out and getting used to axes, always kneel, it's just safer. But in my videos I'll do a mixture of kneeling and standing depending on the task, depending on the piece of wood and depending on the axe. I will assess everything I do for how safe it is before I do it. And when you're experienced, I actually prefer kneeling down for a lot of tasks with a short axe like this. It's always when you're filming. He's getting embarrassed. Can I give you some tips?
Yeah.
Okay, so while you're learning, it's best to use a really nice square bit like this. We'll get rid of this log.
Actually, this was a bit of an oblong, this was.
Yeah, we don't need this. Yeah, like that. So you might find,
Well, use the whole blade though.
You can use a portion of the braid. You just want to make a slicing motion.
Yeah, I got it. What I was doing, I was chopping. I was coming down in dead straight, and I was finding it was catching.
So the point of this is called a feather stick, and it's to increase the surface area of a piece of kindling, and it gives you sort of a tinder that will burn really quickly and easily, and you can actually drop a spark into a fine curl and it will catch fire, and you can use this to get your fire going. In wet weather, if you find a piece of dead standing and split it into 4s or 8s, the inside is pretty much always dry if you get a nice piece of dead standing wood, and that's where a feather stick comes in. It's perfect for wet weather fire lighting. So the other thing, Dad, is you don't need to put force into it. If you relax your hand and make it much more of a relaxed thing, and don't put the pressure on.
Oh yeah.
You want to work on the ridges of your last cut. So if you think about...
yeah, so roll it round all the time.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. So every cut you make is going to leave 2 edges, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, that's more like it. So roll it every single cut like that.
Yep. And you're just increasing the surface area of your piece of wood. Ah. You need to cut in deeper than the feather sticks to remove it from the stick.
Like that.
Yeah.
I wasted a bit of wood there, but still.
It's alright.
Okay, I'll carry on. You've got to use the whole piece of wood, really, haven't you? Yeah. From where your hand, you've got a nice grip on your hand, and from there you go all the way down.
It's good, Dad.
Huh?
It's good.
I'm getting better
Leave
at
it on
it.
the stick.
Huh?
Leave it on the stick.
Is that alright as it is?
Okay, so Dad's been playing with this Swiss Army knife. Let's see the feather stick made, Dad. I'm very impressed with that. That's a really good feather stick.
Knife.
Good. Pick that up quick.
you want to do something?
Okay guys, so as I said, we've packed in a load of food with us for this trip. So tonight is camp curry. So we're just going to chop up some onions, some garlic, some chilies, some mushrooms, and I've brought spice mix that I've made myself to put in with it. So I'm just going to chop up this veg, and then we'll get back to cooking over the fire. Okay guys, so we brought the Dutch oven with us so we can do some proper cooking while we're here, and so we're going to fry up the onions, the garlic and all that stuff with some butter, and meanwhile we've got some coffee on the go, so we're going to have some nice coffee as well.
Some butter.
Some butter. It's a diet trip this.
Diet trip.
Yeah, trying to lose weight.
You wouldn't believe the smells we've got coming in here at the moment. How's it looking? Good. Wow.
Oh, it's nice to relax in the woods. Really nice.
Okay, curry powder.
So in this bag I've got a mixture of cinnamon, ginger, paprika, cumin, onion seeds, garlic powder, chili powder, and a number of other spices, turmeric, paprika. I probably said that already. But anyway, it's a spice mix I've made, and it's going to make a really nice camp curry out here. Going to give it a nice colour.
Beautiful.
I'm going to put a dash of water in there with it.
The puree's open, Tom.
And then added to that I'm going to put some tomato puree. Actually passata, because I find it makes a smoother sauce. The only difference to when I make it home, it doesn't have cream in it. So now we chuck the veg in. It's looking really nice, smelling really good. You can smell the spices already. We're going to put the lid on, chuck it on some of the coals and let it bubble for a good amount of time. Everything will soften up, cook that chicken all the way through, and it'll be a really nice dinner. Because there's nothing that says bushcraft like a Jasper J. Conran tea towel.
Especially a grubby, sooty one.
Actually, there is a funny story about this. I won this in a game of cards at Christmas 2 years ago, and my nan, who I won it from, told me, "You are not going to take this to the woods, please, it's too nice." And I said, what else am I going to do with the tea towel? So now it's my woods tea towel, and every time I go to the woods I show her the tea towel and she looks cross. It's great.
So they wouldn't have it on a purser, lad.
Right, Dad, I think it's time to, you know, actually have some proper refreshment. So pick your poison. Oh, no. Oh, piss.
See, I did it alright.
That's the second shout out to Joe in this video.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So there we have the camp curry. It looks like it's cooked. We're going to check a piece of chicken and then settle down and eat this, I think, 'cause it looks great.
We have that. Is it a brutal one?
We got the naan bread just resting on the lid of the Dutch oven, which is acting itself like a bit of a pan, and that will toast that fairly quickly, I think, and then we're going to eat. Be good. Looks nice. Smells good.
Looks absolutely gorgeous, doesn't it? It looked good as we were cooking it, doesn't it?
Dad, here you are.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, don't worry about that now. You go eat.
You have yours? You know, there's guys from America that we watch on the YouTube a lot.
Yep. Adventure Archive?
Yeah, I like them.
So do I, they're really good guys. Shout out to Adventure Archives. No, seriously, Adventure Archives, if you haven't seen their videos, they're brilliant. Really good. I made this spoon when I was with Chris in the wine.
Oh, really?
Eating spoon.
Did he make one?
No.
He cooked breakfast.
Alright guys, we've just had dinner and it started to rain a little bit. So we know there's a little path out the back of the campsite that leads onto a trail, and there's actually an abandoned little building down there. I think eventually it leads to a town. We've not gone the whole way along, but we're going to just go for a little night hike just onto that trail and see what we see. Last time we were on it, we had a great badger encounter where we stumbled across a badger a couple of meters away, and it just stared at us and we stared at it, and then it went on its way and we carried on our walk. So hopefully something like that happens. Highly doubt it. It was very lucky at the time. We're going to go on a little night hike, and I'm going to just take the GoPro for this. Hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully you'll be able to see what we're doing in the footage. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this little bit of the video. Everything looks so different at night, and I'm not sure how much you'll see. If you can't see anything, I just won't include it in the video, but hopefully you'll be able to see some stuff, because it is quite interesting walking at night. You probably won't see this, but there's actually a big town down there. You can see all the lights and hear the traffic, but it feels quite removed from it up here. You don't really have to think about all the town stuff that's going on down there. It feels quite rural, even with the lights of the city below. So this looks really cool at night. So this is a yew tree with loads of clematis vines hanging on. I don't know how much you'll see in the footage, but it looks very ghostly at night. If someone had never heard of the yew tree and you told them it was poisonous, they would believe you just looks alone on this yew tree here. So this trail is full of strange and slightly spooky things. There's a bit of a car here.
Front of a car.
Which is rather strange how that got here.
I don't remember that being here last year, do you?
I think I do, yeah.
Spooky.
Spooky. So we've reached the abandoned building. Creepy. Pretty cool though, but creepy. Creepy old building. Okay guys, we've walked for about 35 minutes, really interesting exploring the trail. Walked quite a decent way actually, so now we're going to head back to camp. We're going to walk back, it's all uphill on the way back, so that should be fun, and then we will tire ourselves out, we'll get a hot drink, watch the fire, and then go to bed, get a nice sleep in the woods. Cool, I'll catch up with you again when we're returning to camp. Still some life in the fire, that's good. So that was a really fun little stroll. It's nice to explore things at night. Everything looks different, it looks a bit bizarre and sort of quite creepy, but it's always nice to go out for a little stretch of the legs before bed. So we got some hot water on. We're going to make a nice chai tea before bed, and that's going to sort of be a nice sort of warming thing to have before getting our sleeping bags. It's been such a relaxing day, it's been really nice. Tomorrow we're going to do a hike, drive out to somewhere in the countryside and do a walk. I'm not sure which one yet. We're going to work that out in the morning. So we're going to sit, enjoy the fire, enjoy our drinks, and then get some sleep. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. It absolutely poured with rain all night last night. There was no let up. This is the lightest it's been. It sounded at one point like the rain was trying to punch holes in the tarp. It was so heavy. We've got puddles of water everywhere. It's a bog here, and I got out at one point and dropped the corner of the tarp down because I was having splashing where the puddles have have formed around the tarp. The rain was so heavy that it was hitting the puddles, and the puddles were splashing up underneath the tarpaulin. So I've got a bit of a sort of speckled looking thermarest this morning. I am dry completely, but I did have mud being thrown up by the rain, unfortunately. But my area is still dry. I think I might have set it up not ideally for the weather to turn, but I've still got a decent space of dryness around me. I'm gonna fiddle with the tarp set up later in case it gets heavy again. I'm hoping it will lighten up because I don't really want to get up in this weather. It's kind of grim. We've got fog, rain, water dripping off trees, mud, puddles. But it's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about being outside and experiencing the changing weather and that sort of thing. So can't complain at all. It's really good. I'm nice and dry. I'm nice and warm in my sleeping bag. Yeah, it's just a shame about the wind changing direction and bringing some of the water closer to me than I wanted, and then the puddles being hit by massive raindrops and then splashing. But I just chucked my coat on my feet so that there was no splashing there, and then up this end I dropped the tarp down, and it worked perfectly. All the rain ran off of that corner, and yeah, I stayed dry. The edge of my ground sheet got a bit wet as the puddles sort of encroached my area a bit, but it's fine, absolutely fine. Right, I'm going to get up and start the day. So in the night, I dropped this corner of the tarp down just to give me a little bit more protection, and so water, when it accumulated, would have somewhere to run off. What I'm going to do now is drop that corner down slightly more to give me even more protection tonight if the rain continues. And I'm going to do the same to that corner, just drop it down a little bit. It's going to give me less headroom, but that's fine. More protection for my gear when I'm not here to look after it is a good thing. So if the weather clears later, I can always open the tarp back up so we have better headroom, better living space out here. So here you can see the difference. So my tarp finishes here, okay, which means this bit's all boggy, it's slushy, it's horrible, it's squelchy, it's puddles basically. And then here, it was already wet when we got here, so the ground is wet, but compare it to that, it's a lot drier. Now what I found was happening is water was running off the tarp, like that, hitting the puddle, and I was getting a bit of mud splash back, which is no real issue. I've checked all my kit, everything is completely dry, bar a little bit of splashing on my ground sheet, but that's fine, that's what it's for. Also my thermarest has a few bits of mud on it, but that's fine. It's a piece of gear to use, not to look at. So no problem at all, the tarp did its job. Tiny bit in the doorway where I've got in and out, you know? Everything gets so muddy. It is. Probably might end up with trench foot. I hope not. not be fun.
Look at the mud. Huh? The wet mud.
So this is a coffee scoop I made a while ago. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen it over there a few months ago now. But I really like it, and I've just put it in this Sami coffee pouch by Journeyman Handcrafts. So in the Dutch oven we got some sausages. We're just going to have a simple breakfast and then get on with a nice walk somewhere in the countryside. So we're going to cook this up, have this, we've got coffee, nice and relaxing. We're not going to rush, but going to enjoy being outside this morning. Except that one.
Just caught on the edge.
You should have seen me running around in my muck boots and underpants doing my tarp in the night.
Oh, I'd have come and helped you if I didn't realise.
Right then guys, so we're going to head off on our walk. We've had a lovely breakfast, it's been a nice relaxing morning. We're going to go out and do a nice, probably a 10-mile walk today, and then come back and have another couple of days in the woods. Unfortunately my batteries have completely died again, so this is going to be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in another outdoor adventure soon.